Dann gehen wir mal los.
In addition to investigating the picture, I had some other leads to follow. First of all, Lupe had told me Mulzberg would return during the day, and I absolutely had to question him. In addition, I wanted to better inspect the alley where I'd been challenged by that madman. I had to check if someone saw or heard something useful that night.
Neue Rechnung?
I was sure I would find only bills and late payment warnings. Sometimes it's better not to know, so I didn't open it.
Okay, bleib dabei. Bleib dabei, dann können wir gehen. Achtung! Oh, blendet wieder. Erstmal hier alles abklappern. Guten Tag, Alice.
Hello.
Hi, Lars.
Look at this picture, Alice.
That's the recently kidnapped girl, isn't it? The one you were investigating.
Precisely. Do you recognize the guy accompanying young Kathrin?
I recognize the girl only because her picture is everywhere. I don't recall ever seeing him at all.
Have you got any way to find additional information?
I have many resources, my dear investigator. I'll make a copy of the picture, and I'll let you know. But I'll need some time.
Good girl. Dig up all the dirt you can.
Immediately, oh umpteenth wannabe alpha male. I'll let you know.
Another thing, while we're here. If I say the Italian word balsamo, or balm, does it remind you of anything?
Do you think this is the right time to play to word association games?
I can assure you that this balm is vital to the Mulzberg investigation. Saying it out loud, I know it sounds a bit stupid, but you can't even imagine how much sweat it took me to get it.
I'll do a search. Maybe the word has a certain secondary meaning that we're missing.
Hello.
Hi, Lars.
I can't stop staring at your lock.
All right, then. Come on, lay out your hypothesis. Let's see your famous intuition at work.
Judging by your behavior, I'd say that in your adolescence, you were a shy and introverted girl. You spent your days wondering how it would be, for once, to find the courage to strike up a conversation with anyone. Courage, however, that you never found, causing you to grow that rebellious lock, hoping it might earn you a shred of attention. That was your way of declaring to the whole world you weren't the loser they thought.
I don't mean to brag, but at school, I was one of the most popular girls. I did well in almost all my subjects, but not enough to be classified a bookworm. You let me down. Maybe you're not the great detective that I thought.
I'm just warming up.
Mist.
We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
Ist der Typ hier noch am Arbeiten? Nee, er arbeitet nicht mehr. Wie sieht's hier aus? Da kommen wir nicht durch. Gut.
I'm a badge now.
Okay. Ui, wer ist er denn hier? Gar keiner. Du bist du? Eifriger Leser. Ein Playguy-Leser.
A real play guy enthusiast. Wait a second. I replaced play guy with, well, he seemed happy with the substitution. I had nothing else to say to that fake Frenchman.
So, pass auf, dann fahren wir mal. Der hat ja gesagt, er möchte noch mal in die Gasse fahren, ne? Wo wir eigentlich schon mal waren. Hat sich wieder was geändert hier? Nee, ne? Vielleicht ist ja... warte mal. Hier können wir jetzt rein.
And who would you be, Grasshopper?
Who am I? I am...
Forget it, I don't care. You're hired as sous chef.
Sous chef?
Not that there was a queue for the job. We hung the sign outside the door 2 months ago, and you were the first and only one who showed up.
You'll be shocked to discover that there's no sign hanging on the door.
Damn Roger. He must have stolen it to use it as a dish. Such ingratitude.
Anyway, there must be some misunderstanding. I'm just here in the capacity of,
Are you here to work as a dishwasher? Very well, you can start right now.
It'd be an honor to work as a sous chef for a professional in the business. In fact, I've always dreamed of a career like this.
Great. I'm Chef Tony, and from now on, your life is mine.
Can I call you Antoine?
No. For now, there's not much to do, so just observe me and try to learn something. I'll find you something to do for tonight.
May I at least ask you some questions?
Do what you like, but try not to pester me.
Okay.
Chef, did you notice anything weird in the alley out there the past few nights?
Weird? Weird, you say? Now that I think about it, yes.
Does it concern a mannequin with a bloody smile drawn on its face by any chance?
No, of course not. What kind of sexual fantasies do you have in that Yankee head? I just noticed that the night before last, old Roger didn't show up to beg for food like he usually does every blessed weekend.
Is he homeless?
By now, I consider him more like a regular. He comes here because he knows that on Saturday night the leftovers are more nutritious and elaborate than any other day.
Where could I find this Roger?
Roger is a vagrant. He usually changes places, so it's hard to say. But if I was really in a hurry to find him, I'd take a walk around Nancy's.
That pub-like place on the promenade, right?
That one exactly, Pipsqueak. Now go slice 5 pounds of fresh tomatoes, then mix them and put them on the stove with a drop of oil and a pinch of mustard.
Of course. Maybe in a minute.
Ach, wir haben neue Karteneintrag. Ja.
I'll go back to washing dishes, with your permission.
This mayonnaise keeps curdling.
So, was haben wir denn jetzt hier? Was ist das hier?
Establishing how long that stew had been in the pot would have required carbon dating. A cooking station, as filthy and messy as the rest of the room.
Okay, hier arbeiten ist nicht so doll, oder?
It contained a variety of offal, hopefully pork, liver, heart, intestines, and something else. It was a sight many would relive in their nightmares. A cookbook that seemed to date back to the Babylonian civilization.
Mhm.
Above the shelf I could see a grater, an empty bottle turned on its side, and some heaps of garlic.
Okay, hier haben wir nichts weiter. Aber wir haben einen neuen Karteneintrag, ne? Ah.
Here's Nancy's, but still no trace of Roger the homeless guy. Hey, are you the homeless Roger?
Dude, do I look like a homeless guy?
I don't know. Maybe you're undercover.
I'm Mike, and you're a detective, I gather.
How do you know that?
You're wearing a coat in Miami's promenade.
Huh, touche. So, do you know Roger the homeless guy or not?
Knowing him is a stretch, but I caught a glimpse of him sometimes. He sits right on this bench and stays there enjoying the sun. I didn't see him today, though.
I guess I'll have to stop by later then. So, what brings you to the promenade? Yoga?
Just stretching. I warm up for my daily training, as I do every day.
Are you an athlete?
Not by profession, but I like to keep in shape. Plus, this year I'd like to take part in the famous triathlon held here in Miami.
Ah, yes, the triathlon. Well, last year I went to watch it, but I had to leave halfway through the race. My scarf ended up in the spokes of a participant's bike, causing a series of spectacular falls.
You aren't going to assist with this year's competition, too, are you?
No, they put up posters with my face on them to keep me out.
Good.
Have you heard about the Mulzberg scion's kidnapping?
No, I don't live in Miami, and honestly, I don't follow the local news.
See you, Mike.
See you soon, mate.
The palm was marked with a red symbol on its trunk. I wonder what it meant.
Das frage ich mich auch.
I didn't know what kind of plant it was, so I didn't care about it. Typical seaside place, where exotic cocktails and Tex-Mex plates were served regularly. A good way to enjoy sunny days on the beach. Not as good as Green Dart, but a decent replacement.
Okay, mehr haben wir nicht. Da lang. So, erstmal zwischendurch wieder, falls irgendwas abschmiert, ne? So. Hier, das sieht...
That shorty with the hook was doing a good job.
Da ist immer noch der Schlüssel. Hat sich nichts verändert. Ich gehe mal rein.
Who are you? And why have you entered my house without even knocking?
Oh, I'm sorry, Lupe gave me free access. I'm Detective Bundy of the HPD. I'm helping with your daughter's kidnapping case.
The HPD, you said? Am I wrong, or are we talking about that new support police department formed in the last few years?
You're not wrong, and as you probably know, we average almost a 70% rate of closed cases. And of those, I can say without false modesty that almost 45% are closed by moi.
You're very self-confident, Mr. Did you say Bundy?
It didn't seem right to thump my chest and scream my name as usual, so I just nodded in silence.
Tell me, why is the HPD involved in a normal kidnapping case?
We both know this is not a normal kidnapping case. You are a big shot in this town. The police asked us to help. I hope you don't mind. And most of all, I hoped you wouldn't check. At that moment, I was balanced on a fragile tower of lies.
No, I don't mind at all. The more the forces that cooperate, the greater the chance that we have of finding my daughter as soon as possible. I'm at your complete disposal for anything you may need.
Perfect. And remember, please don't leave the country until the investigation is concluded. He shot me a look that immediately indicated, and without any doubt, that in that house, there was no room for humor. Mr. Mulzberg?
Go ahead.
What can you tell me about your daughter?
And Kathrin. I know it might sound strange given her social status, but she was a very simple girl. Everyone that knew her couldn't help but love her. But at the same time, nobody dared get too close. You know what it's like.
I understand perfectly. Anything else?
She loved music. You might think that's a family trait, but it's not. Kathrin was the first and only one of us who ever touched an instrument.
Okay, das Klavier.
Personally, I know little or nothing about music.
I have to ask, do you think there is anyone who might want to hurt her?
I absolutely and categorically reject the idea. Kathrin had no enemies.
I couldn't help but notice how Mulzberg talked about his daughter in the past tense. It seemed a bit too soon for such resignation. About the sign painted on the facade. How do you think they did it? It's quite high.
I have thought about it nonstop for hours. And honestly, I can't explain it.
Tell me everything you saw or heard.
Last night, the silence was abruptly broken by a loud crash. Me and the gardener, who lives in the shed behind the mansion, ran outside and found that symbol. I immediately thought it was blood. But fortunately, I was wrong. It's just paint. There's something I find rather odd. Namely, why bother painting that symbol?
By doing so, the culprit ensured the image would travel around the world and achieve the desired visibility, attracting my attention specifically.
You have a very refined cognitive process, Mr. Bundy. I can understand why you were assigned to the case.
I'd be interested to know what business you're in precisely.
Without boring you with the technical details, my company works in the field of shipyards.
Boats? Are they that profitable?
We're talking about a company that covers every sector, from little rafts for family entertainment to luxury yachts, which, believe me, very few people can afford, right up to the construction of entire oil platforms.
That must cost a fortune.
You can't even imagine. For such jobs, we only agree to participate in exchange for sharing the revenue that results from the actual extraction. At the end of the day, Mr. Bundy, it's always about oil.
Do you know if your daughter was involved in a romantic relationship during this period?
What the hell kind of a question is that? I refuse to talk about my daughter's private affairs.
Your daughter has been kidnapped, and every possible lead must be followed. So please, avoid making a scene, and be cooperative.
You're right. Sorry for my overreaction. But even if I wanted to, I wouldn't know what to say. No, I don't think Kathrin was having a romantic relationship with anyone. She's still just a girl.
Maybe she is to you. Look at this photo.
Where did you find it?
I'll keep my sources confidential if you don't mind. Now, can you please explain to me why you look so upset?
That picture would be very inconvenient if leaked to the press, Mr. Bundy. My daughter's kidnapping would quickly devolve into rumors of a romantic getaway, and that's a scenario I can't risk happening.
I can assure you this photo will remain in my hands only. But now please answer the question.
I don't recognize that man. I trust you'll identify him and then report back to me, won't you?
I'll keep you updated. But bear these words firmly in mind. I don't work for you.
I understand perfectly. Now, if you don't mind, I have to steel myself and regain control of my business.
His reaction seemed disproportionate to me, not attributable to simple fatherly jealousy. To hell with Mulzberg's wishes. I'd tear apart his room.
Dios mío, qué susto. You scared me.
I didn't think there was anybody in the house. I hoped there was nobody in the house.
Even if the pain is fuerte, I couldn't leave the house in dirt, you understand? And then I couldn't leave El Señor Mulzberg alone in such a moment. He is upset and feels that he can do nothing of use.
Commendable, but now you should really let me search the room.
I cannot let anybody enter in here, you remember?
I get it, but I might find something useful for my investigation.
Si fuera por mí, I'd let you search the whole house, but this job me necesita y no puedo risk to lose it.
I understand. Don't worry. Oh, but do worry, Senora Maid. I'll get in there, one way or another.
Bring Miss Kathrin back to us, I beg you.
Just what I needed. The maid decided to be a hero right at the least appropriate moment for my investigation. I strongly felt I had to get in there, and I certainly wasn't going to be stopped by a stereotypical maid talking in Spanglish. Tell me something else about Kathrin.
Lately she was having a time of isolation, muy preocupante. Maybe because a piano competition went wrong. The kid really cared about it. She practiced for a long time.
How long did this isolation last?
Months and months, señor. It wasn't like her. Such a lively chica who never let nada get to her. Not even the spirits haunting the house could scare her.
The spirits haunting the house?
You'll think I'm loca, señor. Forget what I just tell you.
Don't worry, I'm used to crazy lunatics. Tell me more about these spirits.
The Mulzbergs are a muy ancient familia, and the spirits of their ancestors are still in here.
Do you have any material proof? Maybe some ectoplasm, a recorded tape with macabre children's voices, something like that?
I never saw any of these manifestations, but La Señorita Kathrin did. One night, while she was in the upstairs hall, she hears some whispers. Then, suddenly, words from a threatening voice echo in the air, and a bloody heart almost hit her.
What kind of threatening words?
One of the ancestors' mottos. I read it many times while I dust on the upper floor. Madre de Dios, I'm so terrified this could happen to me too. I come from a very Catholic familia, and the bloody heart always scared me since I was a niña.
I liked Kathrin more and more. Taking advantage of a bloody heart and a motto uttered from who knows where, she had designed an epic prank. Unconsciously, from the past, the kid had just sent me a clue to getting rid of the maid. I should replicate that scenario myself by acquiring a bloody heart. I also had to figure out the cursed words used by the girl to lend credibility to her story. The housekeeper told me she had read it while dusting on the upper floor. In addition, I needed a place where I would have full view of the housekeeper, but the main door wasn't an option. Maybe the window on the upper floor would suit me. There's absolutely nothing I can do to convince you to let me in, right?
Lo siento, señor, pero no puedo.
If I wanted to obtain access to that room, I'd have to scare that woman away. I needed a famous motto spoken by one of the Mulzberg ancestors. I had to find a bloody heart to make the prank more believable, and I had already found a way to put the prank into practice. I climbed from the window into Kathrin's room. Child's play, all things considered. What do you think of this photograph?
I never see that man before.
And yet Kathrin seemed to be pretty much of her current age.
Maybe a secret novio, como se dice, a sweetheart?
I have every intention of finding out.
Ich komme nicht mehr. Achso, da.
Let's make this day of investigation worthwhile.
Si puedo ayudar, estoy aquí, señor Bundy.
Okay, den Spruch, den kriegen wir bestimmt hier von hier oben raus. Von einem von den Bildern hier. Von dem oder dem. Er wollte die Plakette nicht
Archbishop
lesen.
Mulzberg da Molina. Judging by his size, I imagine that he loved ham more than God. And there was more. It seemed that his love for food was second only to his lust for women. He even forged a motto about it. The love of the Lord must be experienced in every form to be truly grasped. This obsession of his, together with his size, caused him to die of heart failure at a not very advanced age. I recalled the story told by the maid. Was this Molina perhaps the inspiration for Kathrin's prank? Well, the broken heart didn't match. I had just discovered the words the kid had used to scare the maid to death.
Okay. Ach du Gott, ich habe das Bild Alice gezeigt in der Hoffnung, dass sie etwas damit anfangen kann. In der Gasse, in der ich Herausforderung erhalten habe, könnte es nach Hinweise geben. Roger ist nicht hier, ich werde später wiederkommen. Okay, aber Dienstmädchen, das ist das Abhalten mit bösem Plan. Ich brauche einen Platz mit einem guten Aussichtspunkt. Okay, gut. Senior Bundy? Ja, warum nicht? Kann man nicht, ne? So. Herz ist bestimmt, jetzt wollen wir überlegen, hier. Einziger Laden, wo es was gibt, ne? Hier im ekelhaften Eimer vielleicht.
The maid had mentioned a bleeding heart materializing out of nowhere. Maybe there was a fresh heart in there. I had to ask Antoine. Hey, Chef, you don't have a spare heart, do you?
They constantly ask for them. Those aristocratic pigs. You can find a bucket full of them near the entrance door.
To be honest, it's for personal use.
I knew immediately I'd hired a beginner, but I'd hope you had at least a little taste.
I am full of taste. I am a...
You're a runt. That's what you are.
Stop interrupting my official presentation. I perfected it over years.
Listen, Ant. Fresh hearts are really expensive, and I surely won't waste one of them on a kitchen boy.
Okay, I get the message. What do I have to do to get that heart?
Now we're talking. I need some special number 5 meatballs, cooked with the recipe you can find on that counter over there. I'll need them in large quantities for tonight, so try to hurry.
Okay.
The preparation seemed elementary, but the ingredients would be a problem. Florida ginger. I have no idea what that is.
It's a root, but I don't know its shape. Normally, my supplier delivers it already grated.
And the other ingredients, don't we have any of them already?
You can find salt and pepper on your workstation.
Okay.
For the rest, you need to make do yourself. Ever since I threw that cleaver at him, my supplier has disappeared. Oh, and be careful with the exotic meat. It must have a fresh new taste, something never tried before. These aristocrats become more and more demanding.
Can I take that Parmesan from the shelf up there at least?
No, it's only the crust. I keep it there to lure out those damn rats that plague West Miami.
Tell me about it. I've also had my share of headaches with those little pests in my place, so I'd find salt and pepper right on the workstation.
Na toll.
Considering the sophisticated nature of some of these ingredients, the Mulzberg residence seemed like a promising place to start.
Na toll. Gucken wir mal, Salz und Pfeffer ist schon da. Frischer Florida-Ingwer. Das kann sein, dass es am Pier ist. Ne? Parmesan, 24 Monate gereift. Das wird vermutlich, weil es angespielt hat, bei der Wohnung sein, im Treppenflur. Ne? Da hängt ein Stück Parmesan. Jahrgangswein weiß ich noch nicht wo. Das Ei ist, glaube ich, fast klar wo, aber das Rinderhack wird schwierig. Okay. Dann gehen wir mal das Offensichtlichste machen.
Nothing. Still no trace of that phantom homeless guy, Roger. I didn't know what kind of plant it was, so I didn't care about it.
Warte mal. Forschung.
I didn't need to call Alice right at that moment.
Muss ich da hinfahren?
I wondered what my mother... Anyway,
Oh, sure.
I had other things to worry about. I no longer needed to call Burton. Just having to talk to him in person from time to time was enough. Besides, my phone calls with Wheeler lasted 20 seconds at most. Then he hung up. Anti-interception measures, he said.
Was sind denn Dudu-Filme? Dudu-Filme kenne ich nicht. So, muss ich vielleicht dann hinfahren?
Hello.
Hi, Lars.
I need a quick search.
Of course. Do you need information on Eric Mulzberg? Or maybe his daughter?
Nah, much better than that. I need to know what Florida ginger looks like to prepare some meatballs.
Your investigative methods are even more bizarre than I thought.
I never back down from even the most absurd challenge.
Give me a second. Here you are. You should look for a little plant with wide leaves and red flowers. They look like small artichokes if you examine them closely.
Mm-hmm. Little plant, red leaves, shaped like artichokes. Got it.
If you want to obtain its spice, you'll have to gently extract the root.
Excellent. You just saved me half a day of investigation. We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
Okay, na siehste. Also war es doch das Richtige. Da lag der damit. Der Verdacht war... Ach, der Käfer-Dudu. Ja, den kenne ich. Okay, ja, den kenne ich.
Nothing. Still no trace of that phantom homeless guy, Roger. Judging by the description I had, that surely had to be the Florida ginger. Delicately, I extracted the root. By grating it, I'd be able to obtain the spice I needed.
So, den Parmesan. Wir fahren mal nach Hause. Da.
I had tried many times to recover that piece of Parmesan, to no avail. First of all, it was too high. Secondly, the collapse of the floor beneath made it impossible to approach anything to climb on.
Nö.
The inviting scent of tobacco gave my arteries a sudden thrill.
Nee, okay. War eine Idee, wir kommen nicht ran. Was haben wir hier? Wo ist denn eigentlich hier die Küche? Gibt es überhaupt irgendwo eine Küche oder so? Nee. Ist die hier noch da? Wahrscheinlich. Sonst würden wir uns ja nicht hier in Wund arbeiten. Oh, warte mal.
If I asked you for some ingredients, could you help me?
Lo siento mucho. I don't deal with the kitchen myself. The vintage wine, though. Senor Mulzberg has always some bottles, but he does not keep them in the mansion.
Do you know where he stores them?
Unfortunately, no. But you know who you should ask? The gardener.
The gardener has vintage wine?
Actually, he shouldn't. As a matter of fact, he will never confess to you. The point is that le gusta beber, so from time to time he nicks a bottle from El Señor and hides it in the shed at the back.
In the shed, you said? Good to know.
Oh, but he'll never let you in. He keeps the keys on his belt and guards them as if they fueran part of his body.
Don't worry, I have no intention of wasting time asking. So the wine is in the shed out back?
Yes, senor, but as I said, the gardener will never give you the keys.
I agree, not deliberately at least. Let's make this day of investigation worthwhile.
Si puedo ayudar, estoy aquí, señor Bundy.
Okay, dann gehen wir mal zum Gärtner, ne?